Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Bhagavad Gita introductions. We are on page number 16 to 18 today. We are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. If you have a hardbound book, we are on page 16 and we will be doing page 16 to 18. So let's begin. This is our 7th session of Bhagavad Gita introductions. Doing a recap from our previous session. In our previous session, we saw what is Apaurusheya. Apaurusheya is the knowledge that is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We also saw we as living entities, we have 4 defects. We have imperfect senses, so we come under illusion and we make mistakes and we have a cheating propensity. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is free from these 4 defects, and thus the knowledge spoken by him in Bhagavad Gita is called Apaurusheya. Bhagavad Gita is meant for human beings. We said Bhagavad Gita is not meant for animals, and if an animal kills another animal to eat and satisfy his hunger, the animal is not incurring sin. But if a human being kills an animal to eat and satisfy his tongue, the human being is incurring sin. We saw everything is temporary in the material world. We took the example of our body. Our body comes into being, it grows, it stays for some time, it produces byproducts, it dwindles, and then it vanishes. We touched a little bit on Sanatana Dharma. We said Sanatana Dharma is that which is eternal. It does not have a beginning, it does not have an end. We, the living entities, are eternal. The Supreme Lord is also eternal. And the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to help us revive our eternal relationship with Krishna. Today, we will cover religion versus Sanatana Dharma. We are related to the Supreme Lord in service to the Supreme Lord only. We'll start with prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My dear Lord and the spiritual energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. I am now embarrassed with this material service. Please engage me in your service. Dharma, Sanatana Dharma versus religion. Sanatana Dharma is eternal function of eternal living entity in relation with the eternal Supreme Lord. If you see, the word eternal is used 3 times in this sentence, and as we said before, eternal meaning that which does not have a beginning and an end. So we, the living entity, are eternal. Supreme Lord is eternal, and our relationship with the Supreme Lord is eternal, and we have an eternal function to perform in that relationship. So we will visit different relationships we have in this world. We will go through the functions we do in those relationships, and then we will tie it back to our function with the Supreme Lord. A father and a child. A father takes care of the child's education, takes care of the child's basic necessities, gives him love and affection to nourish and grow. That's the function a father performs or parents perform for a child. Friends. As friends, we share happiness, we share distress, we take care of each other and have companionship with each other. That is the function we perform as a friend for another person. In office, we do different functions. If I am a developer or I am writing code, I am a developer. If I test that piece of code, I'm a tester. That's my function. If I implement after the product's ready, I take the product and implement in a particular company, I am an implementor. That's my function in that company. Husband and wife, they take vows to be with each other come what may till the end of their life, and the function is they abide by their vows. Now similarly, we have a relationship with the eternal Lord, and we have a function to perform in that relationship. And all the functions that we see in this world are byproducts of that one function. Similarly, all the relationships that we see in this world are byproducts of that eternal relationship that we have with the Supreme Lord. And we will see shortly what is our function that we are supposed to perform in that eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. So moving ahead, before we go there, we will examine Sanatana Dharma versus religion. It's required for us to reach there, so let's see this. Today, the definition of religion as we understand is I'm a Hindu or I'm a Muslim, a Christian or a Sikh based upon my faith, and mostly my faith is determined by the family in which I am born. I am born in a Hindu family, so I call myself a Hindu, which ends, my Hinduism per se ends with this body. Next birth, if I am born in a Muslim family, I call myself a Muslim. So if we consider that, then religion has a beginning and an end. Sanatana Dharma does not have a beginning and does not have an end. That's the basic difference. Further, Sanatana Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. It's like the core of the living entity that we cannot take away from the living entity. Example, Sanatana Dharma is like liquidity to water. If I keep water in a refrigerator for some time, it becomes solid. When I take it out and put it outside, it becomes liquid again. The dharma or the nature of water is to be liquid. Liquidity cannot be taken away from water. Similar examples are like fire. The moment we say the word fire, it means heat and light. There is no meaning to word fire without heat and light. Wherever there is fire, we will see light and the place becomes really hot. because those are the qualities of fire. Water to liquidity, saltiness to salt. You cannot take away saltiness from salt. Similarly, you cannot take away sweetness from sugar. The nature of sugar is to be sweet. Similarly, there is an eternal nature of the living entity. If we observe ourselves as the living entity, we cannot sit at one place and say, I will do nothing. It is very frustrating because we are meant to do service. If you observe, wife serves the husband, husband serves the wife. Husband and wife together serve their children, employee serves the employer, employer serves the employee. Politicians ask for votes and they serve the public. Nobody can sit without service. People who have no family, you see they have a dog or they have a cat. And why do you think they have a dog or a cat? They like to serve and they want to serve someone. So the base nature or the core of the living entity that cannot be taken away from the living entity is service. Life after life after life. Service is something that nobody can take away from the living entity. We are meant to be active. We are meant to be serving. And we are related to the Supreme Lord in service. That eternal function that we have towards the Supreme Lord is service. Supreme Lord is the enjoyer. Living entities are his servitors. We are created for his enjoyment. If we participate in his enjoyment, we become happy. Like we said in our previous sessions, that a hand cannot enjoy by itself. The hand takes the food, puts it in the mouth, the food goes into the stomach, and the hand receives nourishment from the food that reaches the stomach. So the hand has to serve the body in order to feel nourished. Similarly, a living entity has to serve the Lord in order to feel nourished and happy. It is not possible for us to be happy independent of the Lord. Like it is not possible for a hand to feel nourished without feeding the stomach. So the relationship between the Lord and the living entity is of service. And service to the Supreme Lord only. Service to demigods is not approved in Bhagavad Gita. So we are looking at this term demigod for the very first time, and I would like to give a little background about who the demigods actually are. So Krishna is the supreme controller, and Krishna appoints different demigods to take care of the functioning of the universe. Like we see seasons changing, we see day and night happening, we see vegetables, we see that the earth has the capacity to grow vegetables. The vegetables are are nourished by the moon. So there is a particular way in which this universe functions, and that functioning of the universe has been delegated by the Lord, Supreme Lord, to the demigods. So demigods are like the caretakers of the universe on behalf of the Supreme Lord. If you look at this picture, there is Krishna on the top, and then we see different demigods here, and then at the bottom are the living entities. So on the top is Krishna, in between are the demigods, and at the bottom are the living entities. And the function of demigods is to provide necessities for the living entity to live in this material world. The function that Krishna is helping us to understand is that human form of life is meant to revive our Sanatana Dharma. The Sanatana Dharma revival, a demigod does not participate in the revival of our Sanatana Dharma. If we have to revive our Sanatana Dharma, then we approach Krishna. And that is what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, that service to demigods is not approved in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is telling that the dharma of living entity is service, and that service has to be performed to Krishna only, not to the demigods. We see many people worshipping Lord Shiva for getting a nice wife. We see some people go to Balaji for getting a visa. We see different people worshipping different demigod and demigoddesses. People who want quick money, they worship demigoddess Lakshmi to get money. And so people who want certain things of this material world, they worship different demigods to get that particular thing, so they can be happy in this material world. What Krishna is saying is, worship me. And what happens by that? He says, you can end the cycle of birth and death and come back to me and be eternally happy. So Krishna is the reservoir or storehouse of pleasure, and if we want to be happy, we should approach Krishna. We should not approach the demigods. There is a wonderful story I heard one time about approaching demigods versus approaching Krishna, and I would like to narrate that story to you. It's my favorite story. The story goes like this. There was a child. The child had 1 rupee with him, and the child went to a store, a shop, and he told the shopkeeper, give me a cigarette. The shopkeeper took out a pack of cigarette, took the money from the child, and gave the child a pack of cigarette. Now, if the child approached his father and said, and gave the father 1 rupee and told the father, give me a pack of cigarette, the father would give him a tight slap, because the father knows smoking cigarette is not good for the child. So father does not allow the child to smoke the cigarette. But a demigod the function of the demigod is to keep a living entity busy in this material world and keep him so busy that he does not get time to approach Krishna. So a demigod or a shopkeeper doesn't mind. Like, the business of the shopkeeper is to sell. Anybody gives him money, he will sell. So the function of the demigods is to give certain material items to the people. So people can be attached to this material world and be in this material world. The function of Krishna is to take the living entity back home, back to Godhead. And so Krishna will give us only those things which are essential for us to go back home, back to Godhead. And thus Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is helping us understand that no worship to demigods, worship only to Krishna. And our worship begins, our eternal service to Krishna begins by chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I would recommend all of you to participate in this chanting of the holy name. If you don't already do, then you could start chanting this mantra. The recommended is to start with 10 minutes a day. Set aside 10 minutes in your day and chant this mantra as many times as you like. 108 is a prescribed number, and if you can stick with that number, great. If not, set 10 minutes of your time in the day and chant this mantra. That will be an application of Bhagavad Gita in our life. As reading Bhagavad Gita is important, it is also important that we apply certain principles and teachings of Bhagavad Gita in our life. We make progress in our life by application. So I invite all of you to chant this mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. It is called the Maha Mantra. It's the mother of all mantras. So I invite all of you to please set aside 10 minutes in your day and chant this mantra. You're welcome to share your realizations, experiences, understandings from this exercise if you like. Getting back to the summary of what we discussed today, we discussed religion versus Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is eternal, it does not have a beginning, it does not have an end. Religion has a beginning and has an end. We are related to the Supreme Lord in service. We are eternal, Supreme Lord is eternal, and we have a eternal function to perform in our eternal relationship with the Lord. Service to Supreme Lord only. Bhagavad Gita says, do not worship demigods. Krishna says, worship me only. Please feel free to send in any questions in your comment box now or later. Whenever you have, you can ping me, text me if you like. Thank you very much for watching this. I'm happy to share my understandings and my little knowledge that I have attained by the mercy and guidance of my spiritual master and spiritual teachers. So thank you all for encouraging me and watching these videos, liking these videos. I really appreciate you all being a great encouragement for my own learning and purification. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend and a week ahead. Hare Krishna.